the context of American life has changed, and so like to draw people in at this point, like the situation is so dire that to draw people in at this point, all we're providing here is a space where people won't be kicked awake in the middle of the night, and that in itself like is impetus enough to bring people in,
Isn't that amazing?
which is something that is all too easy to take for granted. But like the fact that for some people is a reason to band together, shows you just how dire the situation in America really is.
Right. And the Portland Business Alliance pressure to City Hall to have the cops wake people up everywhere in the middle of the night, gruffly, roughly, and disorienting, especially if they're sleep deprived or hungry
Right.
or, whatever. Um, and then, if they resist or are mouthy or don't even know it's a policeman at that point,
Right.
which has happened a lot. I saw it happen to a little kid where his hair was ripped out from his head. That happened at Shemansky. He was
Oh yeah,
awakened. He was
I was there
awakened.
that night.
Oh,
Goodness.
he was awakened. There's some sprinklers. He was awakened by a police officer, shining a light, but he was in his sleeping bag, and they get up.
Yeah.
And that's how they get awakened: is get up and kicked a little bit,
Hmm.
nudged with the foot.
That
Well,
that
on the
morning was more than a
street,
nudge.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's on the street. That nudge could be somebody there to rob you, to rape you, who knows?
Yeah.
So if you're in a sleeping bag and or you're in a dead sleep, um, and then to have you respond with being mouthy or, whatever, making you go to jail. This is a serious risk. So I mean, Matthew was saying he practically has to sleep with one eye open anyway.
Right.
So they're sleep deprived. They are seriously sleep deprived. And like you say, the fact that people would come here just to a sidewalk
Yeah.
as opposed to like under a bush or in the dirt or wherever, they might be able to find something in Forest Park or up by Gateway or something, but they're not. They're downtown because they need city services or they're getting a job and looking at the library or whatever. So they're downtown, and they're looking for just a place where they won't be stopped from sleeping. And what bothers me is that they're happy once they're pushed into the darkest alleys of crime and isolation. Um, so that is one way this is a fatal condition, and there's other
Right.
ways. There's violent crime, but there's also stepping on needles because some of the areas of town that they get shuffled to, there's hey, can you think of any way that just by being outside living that you are at risk of death over time?
Whew. Well, I mean, the worst part about it, I mean, is the most direct when you look at the number of homeless deaths that we've had in Portland over the last few years. People, deliberate acts of violence, murder. They pulled a body out of the river. I mean, I've only been here 3 weeks, and I've heard of a number of people. So, but
So
also
There was
there's
the
the
drive-by under the Morrison not long ago.
yeah, and that was kind of an internal thing, or they knew, but mistaken identity or
Hmm.
whatever, but they were going for a particular person. There's also hate crimes taking place of poisoning. You say, like, wasn't that
uh,
the case with the body in the river?
yeah, I didn't. That's the thing is there's no. There doesn't seem to be any outreach to get that kind of information to the community as far as how they're at risk now. Sometimes in on-campus situations, campus public safety has to try and circulate information about the risk factors and stuff like that. But for the homeless people, they should just get jobs and just end all their risk concerns.
Yeah, yeah,
It's another prime example of blaming the victim.
yeah.
Um, yeah, the thing I really love about, well, one of the many things I really love about this demonstration at City Hall is that it's calling attention to something that uh, even if it's being screamed about, nobody's paying attention to. And it reminds me of this. I think it was Audre Lorde. This Audre Lorde quote about how if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say that you enjoyed it. So we're making sure that no matter what happens to to us, to anybody in our community, they can't say that like uh, you know, that we never spoke up. We were here, and we're making that impression.
Right.